Hi, my name is Amelia. I'm also known as Millie, and I'm one of the young adults here at Lifezone Church. So I've been attending Lifezone Church since February last year. I grew up in a Christian family and I was christened as an infant. We went to church until I was about 8 years old, and we stopped going then because it just wasn't the right fit for my family anymore. When I was 19 years old, I decided to go back to church again, and again, the church just wasn't the right fit for me. I decided to give Lifezone a try, and since then it's been my home church ever since, and today's the day of my baptism. This year has been one of the biggest journeys I've been on as a person, and it's really affected me as a person. So in July of last year, I decided to leave my full-time job and go and study full-time. I decided to study a Bachelor of Early Childhood Education because it's always been one of my biggest passions. I always loved working with children. I thought, great, this would be a perfect career. And my first semester was great. I absolutely loved it. I loved what I learned. I loved the people that I was with. But as much as I loved what I was learning, I also got very burnt out physically. This was because I was working a part-time job which took a toll on both my physical and mental health. So doing that while studying full-time really burnt me out. And at the end of my first semester, I started showing signs of irritable bowel syndrome, which at the time didn't know what it was, but I got very sick, and it really affected me because I was so sick, but I had no idea what was causing it. And so this really took a toll on my mental health because I felt very isolated. I was not only physically ill, but I was also very weak, very fatigued. I had lost a lot of weight, and it really limited the things that I could do. So I couldn't go out and socialise. I couldn't go out to eat, couldn't go to events. Because of this, I started to develop anxiety and depression. During this time, I felt so alone. I felt broken. I felt like a burden. I started to develop anxiety over Christmas last year when I got the unofficial diagnosis of irritable bowel syndrome. In April of this year, it was officially diagnosed. It got to the point where my depression was really triggered, and I said to God, you know what, you can take me because I can't deal with this anymore. I don't want to deal with this anymore. And for the first time in my life, death didn't scare me. During this time, I did reach out for help, and I had an amazing support system of family and friends, and things did look up physically and mentally. I was starting to feel better physically, although still struggling with fatigue. And my depression did go away for a bit, which was really great, but anxiety was still kind of a thing that was there. And so this was over summer, and then in February I went back to study my second semester of my Bachelor, and I thought, okay, great, I'll go back to study, things will kind of fall back into place. I know the symptoms and the signs of burnout and how it's affected me, so I'll be able to control it this time. This semester was really hard on me because I wasn't in the right mental mindset, I guess, to study. And then I was thrown into a 3-week placement in an early childhood centre with kids from a really rough home life, which they were very full on, and they brought basically their home lives into the centre. And as humbling as it was to realise that I was so lucky with the upbringing that I had when I was a kid, it was a really hard situation because what they were going through at home, they were bringing into the centre and taking out on me. And during that time, I also had a whole lot of stressful assessments that I had to hand in, and I was fatigued. And so this really made me have to consider my career and study choice. And as sad as it made me, I realised that during this season, because of my physical and mental health, I could not continue on with the degree. So I decided to see the year out just so I could earn the diploma. and I did. There were quite a few times where I almost threw in the towel. I almost considered not continuing, but I did, and I've now got a level 5 diploma in early childhood education, which is great. The first week after finishing my studies, everything was really great. My anxiety and depression had gone away, but then reality hit and things kind of weren't working out as how I'd wanted to. I wasn't going anywhere with the new job, and the reality of my career not going right made me not how I'd planned, made me really sad, and that's when the depression kind of set back in, and I got so angry with God. I was like, things are going so well, why is this happening again? I felt really lost because things aren't working out, like what I'm meant to do with my life, what am I meant to be doing. I guess during this time I really felt this realization came upon me, and it was like, things aren't working out, but things will, and I really need to focus on God during this time, and I know that He will get me through and that He has a plan for me and things will work out. So I've been thinking of getting baptised for a little while, but I hadn't really put any plans into place, and then basically just having this realization, I do need to put things in God's hands, I do need to rely on Him during this time, and the best way to do it is to continue to develop a relationship with Him, and just to, the best way to do it is to get baptised. Yeah, I also just wanted to, share my story just to inspire others, because even though you may be in these really dark places and you may be going through a lot, like, there is hope. Okay, so things haven't worked out how I wanted to, but doesn't mean that they haven't worked out in a way. Like, okay, I don't have a degree, but I still have a diploma which I can use, and I'm in the middle of an application process of getting a job and relieving, which is great, and I'm really excited for that, and it means that I can, get out of my job at the moment, which I'm feeling really stuck in. There is always hope of things getting better. I'm now at a place where my mental health is better, so much better than it has been in the last 8 months, and my irritable bowel syndrome is now controlled and stable to the point where I can go out and start doing things again, which is really great. With God, I'm never alone, and I'll never be alone with Him and the people that He's put in my life, and I'll be able to get through these valleys and up these hills again.